Welcome to the Holistic Kid Show. My name is Zane.
My name's Abdullah.
And my name's Imad.
We're the Holistic Kids here to educate us kids from the inside out. We kids are growing fast.
I know, I think I'm growing taller and more handsome today.
Hormones play a big role in our development and overall health. We need to keep these hormones working the way they should. A lot of kids are dealing with imbalances.
So what are we going to do to make sure these hormones help become stronger and stronger? So let's ask our next guest, Dr. Yvonne. Yvonne Karney, MD, is the founder and chief executive officer of the Global Institute for Vitality Renewal, an organization dedicated to helping people live their entire lives with energy and focus. As a gynecologist by original training, she has over 2 decades experience helping women. Her journey into functional medicine started with her own personal struggles with chronic fatigue, and at one point she had to choose the close part of her medical practice because she couldn't keep up. She dove into learning everything she could about healing from fatigue, though through this she learned her true calling, helping other women with fatigue, weight struggles, and brain fog. Through her prosperity renew method, she guides her clients through the healing journey to regain their energy and focus so they can get on with their lives and feel like themselves again.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It is my pleasure. So nice to meet all of you guys. I know your mom, and it's just a pleasure to connect.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so. You are so amazing. We would love to know how you went from being a conventional medical doctor to a functional holistic medical doctor. We would love to know your story.
Okay, yes, I had about almost 20 years as a conventional medical doctor. About 15 of them I was delivering babies. And then the last 5 years I was doing just women care. So a lot of my patients were moms. And part of the baby delivering was really, really, really hard. Very tiring. You're up late at night, you're not sleeping. And I started to have some health problems because of fatigue. And I started to, as a doctor, you can run tests on yourself, right? So I was like, well, there's got to be something wrong with me. What is it? But I couldn't figure it out by my labs because they were all normal. And that's when I realized that the traditional way of looking at labs and the difference, you guys know this because working, with your mom, is that there's a big difference between being healthy and just not being sick, right? You know, people that maybe don't have a sickness, they're not, they don't have the stomach flu, they don't have something, but they just don't feel good, they're not well. And that's when I really realized that traditional medicine didn't have the answers on how to keep people healthy. It was geared more towards treating people that had a broken leg or needed an antibiotic for an acute infection, but not the people who are struggling with not feeling well and just not being healthy.
Let's start with the basics. Some people tell me I'm hormonal. What exactly is hormones?
Yes, great question. So hormones carry messages through the body. And so the body needs instructions, and the hormones are the signalers that tell the body what to do. And they're so important for everybody, adults, kids, everybody, and especially growing kids, because you need to have lots of information because there's a lot of stuff going on when you're growing. And the thing is that, hormones need receptors. This is something people sometimes don't think about, is that you have the hormone here and then you have the receptor here. And in order to get the message, they have to connect. And so if you have a problem with the hormone, or if you have a problem with the hormone receptor, then your hormones don't work right. So a lot of people that don't feel good and maybe they have symptoms of a hormone problem, They think, oh, it must be that I don't have enough hormones, but maybe they have enough hormones, but there's a problem over here with the receptor. And so it's not working right. And that's really one of the things that I specialize in, is helping people have healthy, balanced hormones and healthy receptors so that everything works the way it's supposed to.
So how would us kids know if our hormones are out of balance?
Well, if you're tired a lot, that is a sign that your hormones aren't working right. If you have trouble sleeping, that can be a hormone problem. If you have mood problems, like you feel moody, moody for kids is like everybody else is bugging you, right? If everybody's bugging you all the time, it might not be everybody, it might be you. And so that's what we call, being sensitive or moody, and that can be a hormone problem. Hormone problems can affect weight. So some kids struggle with their weight. You guys don't, but some kids struggle with their weight, and that can be hormones too. A lot of times it's just that you just don't feel right. Something's not good and you don't feel right. And it's not until you see the right person that can tell you it's a hormone problem. Another would be if you go through puberty too early, you start having the changes that, make you from a boy to look more like a man, then that, or from a girl to look more like a woman, then that can be a hormone problem. Or if you get to a certain age and you don't have those changes, that can be a hormone problem.
So, what are the main hormones us kids should be worried about? I mean, we don't know that many hormones. Like what? Like your mother was saying, a hormone. Like you were saying, a hormone is something that we go through. So, what should us kids be worried about with hormones?
With hormones, so that the type of the hormones, I don't think you have to worry about. But we have insulin, which helps take blood sugar and turn it into the ability to grow, and that's huge for young people because you have a lot of growing to do. And then we have cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, there's a lot of stresses. And that's another hormone that is commonly imbalanced. Thyroid hormone is very important, super important. Thyroid hormone is energy. It's like what turns the lights on and makes the conveyor belts run of your intracellular factories. It's super important. And without energy, you can't grow. Without energy, you can't think. Without energy, you can't do the things in life that you need to do. You can't think straight in school. You don't have energy for play. So those are the three biggest ones. And then the hormones that you don't have a lot of until you go through puberty, that's not so much that you have to worry about. It's the other three that are the bigger ones. Now in my practice, because I deal with a lot of adult women, they have the other hormone problems too, with estrogen and testosterone problems. But most of the kids nowadays, it's going to be insulin, thyroid, and cortisol.
So we are hearing more and more about these hormone disrupting toxins. Does that really affect our hormones, and should we really be worried about that?
Yeah, I don't like to use the word worry because I think there's too many things
Should
that
be
we
cautious.
cautious. Yes. And that's, what? That's a big difference when you say it that way, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Because here's the thing, the toxins, and that's where I look at the problem with the way the hormones work, right? So the toxins damage the hormone receptor because the hormone receptor is on the cell membrane, and the cell membrane is made out of fat. So, you guys know what saran wrap is, right? The plastic wrap that you cut off and you can cover dishes with it, and it's
Yeah.
nice and flexible, but it's sturdy. So if you think of saran wrap and it's sturdy but flexible, that's what your cell membrane should be like. And then the hormone receptor is right there. But what happens to saran wrap if you hold it over the stove with the flame on? It gets melted and crinkly. And
Yeah.
that's actually what happens to your cell membranes when you get these toxins. And that's when when that hormone receptor is there, because now it's sitting on melted plastic, it totally changes its shape and the hormone doesn't fit on it. And then you have all these symptoms of hormone problems, but it's because of the damage. And one of the things nowadays, which is alarming, is that you think, well, I'm young. How could I have all those toxins, right? That shouldn't happen to me as a kid. But I've done research on this, and there's multiple scientific studies that show newborn babies are born with toxins in their blood, and they've not even had any interaction with the world yet. And it's because the toxins that the mother carries gets passed on. And those toxins are increasing at such a rapid rate that even starting as a newborn, they can have toxins. So everybody needs to learn how to get rid of these toxins, not just adults, because we want to be able to help our bodies stay healthy, and controlling what we have control over to reduce the amount of new toxins, and then helping our bodies get rid of the toxins that are there. That's how we have those healthy cell membranes, and then our hormones work like they're supposed to.
Well, I can't believe that toxins are really changing how our hormone receptors are, and they're really damaging our hormones in our body.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Toxins are everywhere. How can we avoid these toxins that mess with our hormones?
Well, we want to look at what we have control over, and we don't want to necessarily worry about the ones we don't. So what do we have control over? We have control over what we eat.
What time we sleep?
Yep.
Um,
We have control over like lotions that we use, maybe shower, shampoo stuff. We can control that, right?
Cleanliness, our teeth.
Yep. So one of the things is with food, right? We don't want to eat toxins in our food. So how do we do that? Well, we can make sure that we try to eat home, grown, real food, right? Vegetables, meat, protein, fruits, but not packaged foods. If you eat a lot of packaged foods or fast foods, those have a lot of chemicals in them that are preservatives. Preservatives are chemicals, which are toxins. So that acts like a toxin to your hormones. Sometimes we have to wash our, not sometimes, we have to wash our food before we eat it, because they can spray toxins on it. And then we might need to eat organic. So, grow your own food in the summer if you have a sunny spot in your yard and you can have a vegetable garden. And then you have to figure out how to eat the right foods that aren't loaded with toxins. As kids, that can be a little bit of a struggle because you're not the ones doing the grocery shopping. But there are some organizations that make it easier to know for parents which foods have the more toxins in them, so that they can buy organic for those ones and not necessarily need to buy organic for others.
So we talked about toxins. What are the root causes of hormone imbalances?
Yeah, well, toxins is a big one, right? Because there's really three causes of hormone imbalances. Either you're making too many, or you're making not enough, or you can't get rid of the ones you make, and that can lead to too many, right? And then, or you can have the right amount of hormones, but they're not working right because they can't attach to the receptor. So when we were talking about toxins, that does two things. The toxins will make the hormones not work right because of that receptor thing. But there are also certain toxins that have a similar shape to hormones, especially like estrogen. So these are toxins in plastic. The shape of the molecule of plastic is it's got a component on it that's similar to estrogen. And so if you cook your food in plastic, or you drink a lot of plastic water bottles or styrofoam cups, things like that. The aluminum cans are lined with plastic. Those things will act like estrogen in your body, even though it's not estrogen, but it's like a fake estrogen. It's a pretend estrogen, and it can make you, for boys and men, they don't need a lot of estrogen. They need a little bit, but if in their environment, in their food, they're getting too many, it can cause problems. So those are the way toxins affect it. And then with that, making too much or too little, that's another cause of hormone imbalance. Stress, because when you have a lot of stress, your body kicks into high gear and it says, we're going to make cortisol and cortisol and cortisol and more adrenaline. And then because of its priority, it's like, well, we got to make a lot of this because of the stress, and that's survival. So we don't have time to make the other ones. So then you'll have an imbalance because you're making too much of one from the stress, and then you're not going to make the other ones because your body's prioritizing it.
Oh, wow. So you're saying that because of stress, our stress is imbalancing our hormones and our body?
Yes, it can do that. It can do that.
So what are the top foods to help us balance our hormones?
So great question. That also brings to mind that third one, which is of hormone imbalance, which is the gut. So your belly, right? So if you can't get rid of the hormones that you make, your body's supposed to make the hormones, use the hormones, and then get rid of them. But what happens if you're making hormones and you can't get rid of them? And then you make more and you can't get rid of them. And you make more and you can't get rid of them. It would be like you never take the trash out, right? So what happens in the kitchen if you never take the garbage out? It overflows.
Yeah.
And so that is also a way that you can have a hormone imbalance, is because your body can't get rid of them. And there is people with unhealthy gut, they reabsorb their hormones. They can't get rid of them. And so when you ask the question about what foods to help us balance our hormones, that's a big one, because anything that you eat that helps your gut stay healthy is a big step towards balancing your hormones, because that will help. An unhealthy gut is a huge cause of hormone imbalances. So what are unhealthy foods that lead to the hormone imbalances? Sugar, anything that causes intestinal inflammation. And for many people, that's gluten, which is in wheat. Processed foods, big one. Sometimes, the chemicals that they spray on corn can be a problem. So those kind of foods, avoiding them because they cause gut inflammation. But then the ones that, if we go to the toxin side and look at how to help that hormone and the receptor heal, because that is made out of fat. Remember I said that saran wrap, which is the healthy fat.
Yeah.
So if we've got that melted saran wrap, we got to put new healthy cell membranes there. So healthy fats, like from healthy chickens, the egg yolks from healthy chickens are awesome. And you can tell if they're healthy by how one of the ways is by how orange they are. If you're eating eggs and they're pale yellow, they're not very healthy, but they should be bright orange.
Yeah.
And then nuts and seeds are excellent, especially sunflower and pumpkin seeds. Do you guys like those?
Yeah, they're very.
Yeah, so those are really good for your cell membranes. And the thing about nuts and seeds is they're way better for you if they're raw than if they're roasted. Because when you roast them, the heat can change the structure of the fat so that it's not going to go into help that cell membrane repair as well. So egg yolks, nuts and seeds, raw nuts and seeds, super, super healthy. And then anything like fiber and vegetables that help your body detox and help your gut stay healthy, especially like the lettuce and spinach, anything that you can put in a salad, the green leafy vegetables, super, super good for your gut, and they help your body get rid of toxins.
Well, that's amazing how all of these foods really help our body in more ways that we can't even like that we didn't even know about. Like how not, even egg yolk, like people don't even really think about the egg yolk. They just think about and um
So what else can us kids out to keep our hormones balanced?
Well, we talked about food, right? We talked about, okay, so what about the stress? So you mentioned sleeping, right? Sleeping is great because it
yeah.
helps you
Yeah.
reduce stress. Getting outside, playing outside, making anything you can do to move your body, exercise, play, anything besides sitting on the couch watching TV or playing with video games is going to help your body in a lot of ways. It reduces stress and it helps your body detoxify because as you're moving, your blood's flowing better, and there's this part of your body that carries toxins called your lymph system, and that moves better when you're moving. So those things are great for helping get rid of toxins, which helps you balance your hormones.
Yeah, a lot of people they're like, oh, but well, we don't have time to do exercise. It's so well, you don't need exercise. You can literally just go out in the sun, touch some grass, and
Yeah,
get so many benefits.
absolutely. Yeah, it's hard right now. I mean, in the winter where we live,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
People are indoors more, but there's things that you can do indoors too. And you want to make it fun. It shouldn't feel
Yeah.
like work to exercise. But I think that so many kids, unfortunately, are given a TV or a phone or some kind of gaming system to keep them occupied when really the best thing is what you guys are doing is doing your own thing, right? Which is awesome. And also using your body and your imagination to go have fun. And kids didn't used to have to think about exercise because everything they did in their day and playing was exercise. But now that it's like too many people sit all the time, now it's like, okay, I have to think of something to do to make my body move. If there's a way that you can have fun making your body move, then that's even better because then you're not watching the clock thinking, oh dear, how long do I have to do this? So if you play a sport or anything like that, it would be awesome because it helps you keep your body moving.
So if a parent is worried about their kids' hormones, what labs should they get to see what the problem is?
That's a good question. So there are labs to do. Depending on what hormone imbalance it is, we can get a feel for whether someone has an insulin problem by checking their blood sugar. Because if you have high blood sugar, then we know that you have an insulin problem. For thyroid, this is something that I usually do more testing than other doctors on because I think it's easy to miss thyroid problems, but there are some thyroid tests that you can do. And I usually tell my patients, make sure you don't just check one hormone. You need to check several to make sure that they're working right together because there's actually a lot of thyroid hormones that are important. So we do a TSH and the free hormones, whereas in the way I was trained in my old practice, we were taught just to do one test, which was a TSH, and that's not enough. So when I'm checking hormones on kids or adults for thyroid, I actually check 6 different hormones to make sure. And then cortisol, that test we usually do not in a blood test, but in a spit test, a saliva test. And because cortisol we have to do that one a few times in the same day. Who wants to get their blood drawn 3 times in one day? That would be
Yeah,
awful.
Yeah,
I would
no,
not
no
want
one
to do
wants to
that.
do
No
that.
way. So there we do a saliva test for that. And that gives us a picture of saliva. With kids though, sometimes I don't necessarily need, unless I'm worried about the blood sugar or the thyroid, those ones are super important because those need to be repaired and replaced if there's a problem. The cortisol hormone, we usually deal that one. We use that one. I can make assumptions without running the test because I know in my experience, based on the way somebody's living, whether they're going to have problems and talking to them about their symptoms. So sometimes I don't do that test. We just work on, hey, let's just assume you've got stress issues. What can we do to reduce it? Because so many people in our country now have stress issues that just assuming we have them and doing things to reduce it is probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, and remember, there's more kinds of hormones than just estrogen and testosterone. So
Yeah.
focus on all of the hormones: insulin, cortisol, um,
Stress. No, that was a
cortisol,
The outside.
toxin. Um,
I don't know.
and estrogen, testosterone.
And thyroid.
And
thyroid.
thyroid,
Yes,
Yes.
thyroid.
This was amazing. What is one thing that kids can do today to help their hormones?
Wow, one thing. Let's see. One thing. Oh, how about this? Make sure that you drink enough water. And that's important because that's part of that getting rid of toxins. If you don't drink enough water, your kidneys and your gut, your intestines cannot eliminate toxins. And so many people don't drink enough water. They'll drink soda pop or other things, but not enough water. And it kind of equates to trying to do a load of laundry with no water in the washing machine. You can't get your clothes clean at all, right? Can't wash your hands if you turn the sink on and nothing comes out. So your body needs that water in order to help your kidneys and your liver flush toxins. And because we talked about how toxins are such a major cause of hormone imbalance, drinking enough water would be a really easy thing to do to help balance your hormones.
So where can people learn more about you and your work?
So I am in the Chicagoland area, not that far from you guys, about an hour away. I am in my office right now. So I have a practice here in Crystal Lake. It is snowing outside right now.
Yeah, I think we're about to get that as well. Moving down here.
And then I also have social media. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and it's just Yvonne Karney, MD. I do have a hormone imbalance quiz on my website and on my Instagram page. So anybody that is interested in taking a quiz to see if they might have a hormone imbalance, that is on there.
That was so empowering. Everyone make sure to follow Yvonne on social media. She is such an inspiration. Thank you so much, Dr. Yvonne. Let's recap Dr. Yvonne's key points.
Hormones carry messages through the body. They are the signals to tell the body what to do, and they are super important for us growing kids. Hormones need receptors, though. If you have a problem with the hormone or the receptors, then the hormones don't work the way they should, and there's something wrong. When your hormones are out of balance, you just don't feel like you just don't feel right, and you can either be making too many, making not enough, or you can't get rid of the ones you make, or you can have the right amount, but it's not working on the receptors.
Toxins damage the hormone receptors. We need to focus on things we can control. We can control what we eat, we can control what we breathe in the house, and we can control our house environment.
So make sure to drink enough water, eat real foods, and stay away from the foods that are loaded with toxins. Get rid of aluminum cans that can mimic our hormones, and really mess up our body. Stress can make cortisol that can disrupt our hormones, and we need to make sure to get outside, play, exercise, and remember to make it fun. It doesn't always have to be boring. And you can do all this to help lower stress and balance hormones. When your body can't get rid of hormones, then you might have an unhealthy gut. Gluten, sugar, and processed foods and chemicals can also be a big problem. So we should avoid it.
But the foods we can help, but the foods we can help the hormone and the receptor heal. We need fat from healthy chicken, egg yolks. The more orange, the better. Nuts and seeds are an excellent source that will help nourish your cell membranes. Raw better than roasted. Uh, wow, Dr. Yvonne, that was amazing. We are so thankful for your wisdom and time today.
It was fun talking to you guys. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zansari.
I'm Abdullah.
And I'm Imad.
Follow my family on social media, Holistic Mom Tea, and look out for my mom's work. The Holistic RX, your guide to chronic inflammation and disease, and the amazing children's book we wrote together called Adam's Healing Adventures, the Power of Rainbow Food. So check it out on Amazon. Yay! We need to work together to create a healthy future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kids Show, where kids are empowering kids. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.